you're being realistic about the type of results that you can achieve with that event.
Absolutely.
Going back to the let me add one more thing. How mismatch can happen.
Oh yeah.
We had recently we had a group of volunteers suggesting a chief guest, if you will. We were brainstorming who should be the chief guest. For a Boy Scout event, it ended up inviting the president. It's just not possible to have an event for Boy Scout. You cannot have President of the United States come to that event. So those kind of things, realistic, when you set goals, you have to be realistic.
Yeah, you got to remember what you're really out there trying to do.
Yeah.
So any questions on setting goals? Any more things you want to know about? Cool. And then the next thing is timeline and planning. Timeline and planning. In my experience, it takes a good 6 to 8 months and sometimes more than a year if you really want to sit down and do an event. So don't think you're going to go out in 2 months pull something together. It takes a tremendous amount of planning, tremendous amount of timelines. When I mean timelines, you need to do basic timelines, which is 6 to 8 months, it's got to be a weekly timeline. And as you get closer to the event, my final timeline is basically sometimes 5 and 6 pages long, and that will carry me through the setup day and the end of the event, 3 or 4 days maximum. But again, it lists every single thing that's going to happen from minute to minute. So in case I get run over by a bus, anybody could pick the book up and follow it and know who's coming in when, what's being delivered, who to contact if something isn't delivered. And so it's basically the Bible of the event. It's a timeline and planning. But it needs to start out. The minute you say, okay, I'm going to do the event, then you set down a timeline as to, okay, today is January, what is today, January 11th? And then we're going to have a festival on January 11th, 2011. So now you've given yourself plenty of time to start that planning process. I've been hired by several nonprofits who come up to the 13th hour and go, we don't have it done. And so then I've got to come in. It costs them more money, costs them more time, costs me more time to do things that should have been done months prior. So timeline and planning for it is extremely important. You've got it. It takes a long time. People think, these things just happen overnight. They don't. Conversation on timeline planning?
Well, one thing that I'd like to say about the timeline, and this goes back to the way that we ran it with AKF and the partnership walk. Usually what happens is we have about 8 to 9 months to plan out our walk. This past year, we pulled everything up in about 4 months. We started a little bit late. But the way it did work out was because we had a strict timeline for all the teams. Under myself, I had 11 teams that were reporting to me, and we had weekly meetings that we held. So the way that we organized these meetings, when it came to the timeline, was I've seen a lot of other organizations that have been involved and do meetings where everybody gets together and they go over what's happened in the past week, right? We didn't do that. Because for that's what we have email and phone calls for. When everyone makes time to get together, what we did was we went over things that were coming up and how each team can help each other reach that goal for the next week's meeting. And that was very effective, and it really pushed us forward where we were able to finish everything up on time. So we discussed the action items that were due next week instead of what had happened the following week, and that was very effective when it comes to time management for events.
Yeah, planning is very, very important. We at India Association, we have been doing this event for the last 34 years. So it's a recurring event. We've got processes and processes in place, infrastructure in place, how we do. Just the body changes, volunteers changes, the leadership changes from every year. So the goal of the event remains same, to celebrate India's Independence Day, right? That's the general goal. So we plan that. Sometimes it is going to be in one place, the venue changes, the scale changes, how big is it? Okay, the time changes, evening, afternoon. The content changes, music, food, what have you. But the general goal of it does not change. So that planning is very important. We start very, very early on, at least 8 months ahead of time, because the scale of the event is so big, and the number of people who are attending, the venue, how it changes from place to place. We develop layouts. We do very scientifically. I'm sharing our experience. The reason I put this up is I'm an engineer. I think in compartments. So as we go along, we'll develop at the end of this. There are 4 important quadrants. Okay, 4 I think you'll get out something out of the class by the end of the. I'm hoping that you'll get something out of the class. So let's start off with planning each quadrant, and next quadrant we'll see where we get.
And again, like you were saying with the planning, and they've got all these processes that are in place that you guys follow, right? It's the same thing with the partnership walk. We have a huge checklist. This checklist is like in an Excel file. It is huge. So whenever a new team comes up, you just go through the checklist and just follow procedures, and you put on a decent event. So if you guys are starting off a new event or just whatever it is that you're doing, document everything. Document it so later on when you're doing this event again next year, you're not having to rethink what's happening. You have everything down on paper. You're not going to miss anything that could have happened and could not. And one of the other things that we do when it comes to planning is we always do a SWOT analysis at the end, which is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that always helps out because this way we know exactly what we've missed that we can improve. And it starts the planning for the next year. And that's always good to at least keep in the back of your mind when you're working on an event.
Yeah, I work on the Irish Festival. I work on several of my events year-round because as soon as the Irish Festival's over on March 7th this year, then our 9th this year, then we start thinking about 2011. Now we've added a new festival. We're doing a Fort Worth Festival this year for the first time called Cowtown Celtic. So I'm double timing on that one, but you can't stress the planning. If you don't plan well, then things will fall through the cracks and you'll be caught in the middle of something, and it's not easy to get out of those situations.
Can I ask you a question real
Sure.
quick?
And can I interrupt?
Go ahead.
Since we don't have, somehow we didn't get the laptop here, and you all don't have anything to show, so I just turn it on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Just a quick one, on the timeline, do you guys use any kind of technology or program that facilitates that for you guys, or is it paper and pen the best way to go?
Well, I actually use a computer. I am probably the least computer literate person in the room right now since I'm old, and I don't really enjoy computers, and I back everything up in writing. I type it and I print everything. My house and my office is just a collection of paperwork, but I have found that if my computer crashes, this is the best thing, or a disk. But everything starts out in my process. I get on the computer and I just start day one. You know, if I was planning an event for a year from today, I said, okay, today's January 11th. What do I have to have done in the next 30 days? What do I have to have done in the next 60 days? And a lot of this is impacted. I'll jump ahead just real quickly. When we get down to permits, there are going to be things that will dictate your timeline that you have to do in order to achieve your goal. A lot of that's permitting, venue, location. There's a lot of things that will say, okay, if I want an event in January 2011, you know, where's it going to be? Is that place available? What's it going to be? Is there a need for that? So there's things that will dictate how your timeline's done. But no, I start out with it on a list on the computer and I just build it every day.
There is a piece of software that we use
Yeah.
for some of this stuff,
Yeah.
but honestly, I cannot remember the name of it right now. So
So
give me some time out.
Project management software is
Like
available.
Microsoft has that, what is it, the project?
Microsoft
I don't know
project.
if that stuff complicates
No,
it or makes
we don't
it
use that, but
easier,
there's
or-
one other thing that we use for the timeline. Sometimes it's a great graphical software where you actually see bubbles and things coming
Yeah.
out of it, and you're like, okay, this is what needs to get done for this team. And
Right.
yeah, if I remember the name, I'll send it over to
Send
Anne-Marie.
it to me, I'll
Yeah,
send it to the list.
perfect.
Okay.
Okay, those are all the tools. So we have plenty of tools of going about how to do the timeline. So these are the things that we covered: venue, timeline, tools, SWOT analysis. Let's talk about risks, planning and risk. The whole idea of planning is how do we assess risk? What happens? I'll tell you from our experience. We do an outdoor event. What happens if rain?
You must have Plan
Yes.
B.
Yes.
If you have Plan A and you don't have Plan B, then you risk your entire event. And what I mean by Plan B is an optional location or an optional date or an option to that event's not happening.
And along with that, yeah, that's the bigger thing too, right? But you also have to look at the smaller aspects as, okay, so I've got this person coming as a chief guest or the speaker. If that guest speaker has a car accident and can't make it on time, what do you do?
What's your option?
You can't have an empty stage there for 10 minutes. The time was allotted to that person. We had backups even for our MCs on the day of because all of those things need to be covered because you never know what's going to happen.
You need
So
a
what's
plan-
your backup for rain?
Well, you know, I have, if you're a completely outdoor event, you just stand there, smile, and hope that people come with umbrellas.
No,
But-
we have gone about it. We do the very next day.
So you
Our
do-
event is Saturday, so if it rains, the next day.
I have too many moving parts in our festival to adjust the date.